I'm here today with David Morgan of silverinvestor.com. How are you today, David?
Doing well. Thank you, Tracy.
David, we're just about to put our top most influential writers of the year out, and in our top 10, you make the top 5. I just want to ask you what one of your favorite things that occurred in the gold and silver market from 2013 was.
Wow, that is a tough one. Favorite. It's hard to come up with something on the positive side. It's been a pretty miserable year for gold and silver investors. I don't know if it's 2013 or not. I remember mentioning it at the 2013 January show in Vancouver, so it could have been at the end of 2012. But I think the most eventful was Germany asking for its gold back and the Federal Reserve saying, yeah, no problem, give us 7 years. If that isn't it, I would have to think a little longer for a follow-up on that. So maybe we can hit the next question.
Okay, so David, 2013, as we know, was a very challenging year. Can you tell me what you're anticipating for 2014?
I'm anticipating a good year, but not a great year. I think we've seen the bottom, probably bottoming as we do this interview in December. I actually think the bottom was hit in silver at the end of June 2013, and perhaps gold at the 1179 mark. But we're, as far as I'm concerned, done with that. But it's not going to just rocket up in 2014, in my studied opinion. But we will see the base built and start moving up. And barring a black swan event, which I certainly don't rule out, we should have a good year. I'm looking for gold in the probably $1,700 range, maybe that high, and silver in the 30 range or maybe a bit higher sometime during the year. It may get to those levels and be tested and fall off, but I expect it to be in the 30 range sometime during the year, and gold above 1650 sometime during the year.
Many of your followers, and of course many of our audience, may not be aware of the fact that you're also one of the most highly esteemed economists, well known for your forecast. Would you like to talk to us about our overall market in North America for the upcoming year and what you anticipate?
Well, sluggish economy, regardless of what the mainstream financial press puts out there. I mean, the real economy is rather pathetic. There's, job openings that take, like IKEA, I think, wanted a job opening. I think there were something like 30 jobs, and they had something like 3,000 applicants. So that just gives the flavor of really what the job market is. So although you hear about an unemployment improvement in the mainstream media, the facts belie that. So I am looking for, limping along, you might say. I don't see anything really disruptive. Once Janet Yellen takes the helm, I'm looking for easier monetary policy, but it won't help the general economy. It certainly might continue to help the banking system, but it's not going to help the overall economy.
Okay, and so for the overall banking system in the upcoming year, do you have any forecast as we get closer to the new year here?
I think more stress in the sector. I mean, we've gone from several too bigs to fail to less too bigs to fail. Whenever you consolidate power like that, you run higher risks. The debacle from 2008, or really 2007, manifest in 2008 financial crisis, is not over. It's still ongoing. And the way the derivative system is set up with those more derivatives in fewer hands, I think we're belying a problem in the future. Whether it will manifest in 2014 or not remains to be determined. But there is not a solution out there. The quantitative easing program is kicking the problem along, but it's not solving anything. So I am still very suspect of how this is going to work itself out, and doubtful that it will.
All right, and I would like to just go back. We have discussed over the year the financial crisis in Europe and how it's impacting the international global markets. Would you like to make any comments on what you anticipate coming, moving forward?
Well, I think a lot of eyes are in Europe, as they should be, but I think there's also, other places to look. I think, again, the stress is all over the place. I think Japan is somewhere to look. I mean, they hold the second biggest debt load after China. China's basically said enough US dollars, so we don't need any more. And so we are in, again, precarious situation. I think, again, look at the bond market. That's the keys of the kingdom. You need to look at the bond market, see what's happening. And, there could be some kind of disruption in 2014 that basically gets out of hand. A lot of people think that the central banks have total control. They have a lot of control, but they don't have total control. There are anomalies in these markets, and the market forces of themselves could take hold. We could see like a bond sell-off that no one expects.
Okay, so I have another question for you. Right now there's a lot of news about Bitcoins in the market and different types of currency utilizing our electronic PDAs, for instance. Do you have any comment on this overall? Do you think there's any threat of these a new currency program in the next year, for instance?
Well, I've spoken on Bitcoin before. It's certainly newsworthy. I'm, free market. I mean, there's a lot of people that really like the Bitcoin system. There's a lot of things to be said about it that I think are favorable. The one I would say on the unfavorable side to my thinking is, I'm an advocate of specie money, something that you actually hold, which is coinage. But, if you think it's good, go for it. I would be at this point in time a little bit on the cautious side. But I think more importantly, the bigger question, you asked it open-endedly, Tracy, is why? Why is it gaining so much? And I think the reason it's gaining so much momentum is that people have figured out that this centralized planning, this banker-controlled system that we are in globally isn't working. And they're looking for an alternative. A lot of people looking for alternatives have looked to the precious metals, but they've certainly been stagnant to lower for the last couple of years. So Bitcoin serves a great purpose, and it's very easy to transfer electronically, which is basically how all the transfer payments are made these days. So there's positives there. I'd say my position would be similar to Peter Schiff. You can look at Peter Schiff on YouTube, and you would watch his video, and it would be pretty much in line with my thinking. But on the other side, someone that's I think is fantastic and I enjoy watching every time is Max Kaiser, and Max is much more bullish on Bitcoin. So being the libertarian thinker that I am, I say, make up your own mind. Don't take my word for anything. You want my opinion, there you have it.
So David, you're a well-read investor. Is there anything you can do to have the most successful 2014 or any advice you'd like to extend our audience that they may appreciate?
Well, I'll give you some advice, although you asked for it, otherwise I wouldn't. But I would say this is outside the scope of, finance, but I'd say balance. I mean, I think a lot of people, especially in our sector, be it not only precious metals, but expend that to the financial sector or even broader than that, the monetary system or financial system, seem to dwell there. They seem to spend too much time. So I would say, strive for balance. There's a balance between your money, your monetary objectives, and your family, your health, all that makes up a good, solid life. So I would say I would stress for balance in 2014.
Well, you heard it here first on Investor Intel, striving for balance in 2014. David, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure, Tracy. Always a pleasure. Thank you.